There comes a moment when the false world is no longer convincing. The world didn't change, but something within you can no longer pretend. Distractions lose their power. Life becomes exhausting. Old identities feel like costumes. And on top of that, the goals you were told to chase begin to feel hollow, like they belong entirely to someone else. But beneath all of the noise, something quiet starts calling. Not loudly, not emotionally, and not through fear. It calls from somewhere behind the mind. It calls from a place that was never born into the illusion. That's the monad calling you. And once you hear it, the false world can no longer mesmerize you. The false world doesn't need chains when it can distract you. It doesn't need prison walls when it can convince you that survival, status, and image are the whole meaning of life. This is the genius of the illusion. It doesn't always appear as darkness. Sometimes it appears as ambition. Sometimes it appears as belonging. Sometimes it appears as the need to be understood by people who are still asleep inside the very system that trapped them. The false world teaches you to look outward for proof that you exist. It teaches you to become a name, a role, a personality, a wound, a story. And then it asks you to defend that story as if your life depended on it. But the monad does not call the story. The monad calls what existed before the story. It calls the silent essence beneath the costume. It calls the divine spark that was here before the world taught you what to fear, what to chase, and what to become. This is why awakening can feel like death. Not the death of the soul, the death of the false identity. The death of needing the illusion to name you. The death of mistaking the mask for the face. When the monad begins calling you beyond the false world, it doesn't give you a better identity. It begins dissolving your dependence on identity altogether. From the Gnostic point of view, the false world is not merely a physical place. It's a field of distortion, a realm of forgetfulness, a structure of appearances that keeps consciousness looking away from its own origin. The Archons don't have to defeat the divine spark directly. They only have to keep it occupied, keep it reacting, keep it afraid, keep it chasing shadows, keep it worshiping temporary experience as though it were permanent existence. Every time your awareness is pulled into fear, outrage, or even spiritual pride, the false world tightens its grip. Not because those emotions make you evil, but because they make you forgetful. You forget the still center. You forget the witness behind the storm. You forget that there is something within you that is untouched by the machinery of illusion. The Archons say, look here, fight this, fear that, become this, prove that, defend yourself, explain yourself, chase this, hate that. It creates 1,000 false emergencies so you never return to the one eternal truth. But the monad is silent. The monad doesn't argue with the illusion. It simply remains. And when your consciousness returns to that stillness, the false world loses its authority it once had over you. But understand this clearly. When the monad calls you beyond the false world, it doesn't mean that you should abandon life. It doesn't mean that you reject your body. It doesn't mean you become cold, detached, or superior. That's just another Archonic trap. That is the spiritual ego wearing the robes of transcendence. The false self loves to turn awakening into status. It loves to say, I see what others can't. I'm above this world. I am beyond these people. But the monad doesn't inflate the self. It silences the false identity. To go beyond the false world does not mean you disappear from the material plane. It means you stop being hypnotized by it. You still live. You still love. You still work, play, and walk through ordinary days. But something has shifted. You're no longer asking the illusion to tell you who you are. You're no longer begging the dream to validate the dreamer. You're no longer mistaking the temporary movement for your eternal nature. This is not an escape. It's remembrance. The soul doesn't transcend the false world by running from life. The soul transcends the false world by seeing clearly. And once true sight returns, the Archon's spell begins to break. This is why the call of the monad can feel like loss at first. You may lose interest in things you once chased. You may feel distant from conversations that once consumed you. You may notice how much of human life is built on performance, fear, and possession. You may feel alone, because you are no longer fully synchronized with the frequency that once held you. It may feel like depression. It may feel like confusion. It may feel like isolation. But sometimes what looks like disconnection is the beginning of deeper alignment. Sometimes the soul must grow in the shadows before it can become a beacon of light. The old world feels empty because your consciousness is no longer feeding from it. The monad is not calling you into emptiness. It's calling you out of counterfeit fullness, out of the fake abundance of noise, out of the endless marketplace of identities, out of the spiritual sleep that mistakes activity for meaning. And this threshold cannot be crossed through force. You cannot fight your way into the monad. You cannot perform your way into remembrance. You cannot think your way beyond the mind. You cross the threshold when something within you becomes still enough to recognize what was already there. The monad. This is the great reversal. The false world made you believe freedom was somewhere ahead of you. After enough purification, after enough suffering, after enough spiritual knowledge. But the monad was not waiting at the end of a maze. The monad was the silent light by which the maze was being seen. The one who notices the illusion is already closer to the truth than the one who keeps decorating it with academic understanding. The one who stops chasing false light begins to feel the true light behind all appearances. And the one who becomes still enough to listen discovers that the call was never coming from some distant heaven. It was rising from the deepest root of their own being. The false world does not fall away all at once. It fades each time you stop worshiping it. Each time you choose awareness over reaction, silence over noise, truth over performance, presence over possession. The monad does not compete with the world. It does not shout over the Archons. It doesn't demand your attention like the false light does. It's there, behind everything, still, uncreated, untouched. And when you become quiet enough to hear it, you realize the call was never asking you to become something new. It was calling you beyond the false world so you could remember what you have always been. If this transmission resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may be starting to see through the illusion but doesn't yet have the words for it. Comment below. What part of the false world are you finally beginning to see through? Your comments help build this field of remembrance, so others who arrive here know they are not alone on the path. And if you feel called to support the channel more directly, there are a few ways to do so. You can leave a super thanks on this video. Buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MagnumOpus333. Or you can visit the Magnum Opus 333 store on Teespring. The links are in the description below. And if you want to go deeper with this work, consider becoming a channel member. Membership helps sustain these transmissions and supports the creation of deeper monad-centered content for those who feel called to this path. Remember, your consciousness is the key that unlocks reality. Let's keep unlocking it together. Thank you for watching. Until next time.